For 50 years, we've been writing rules about the world instead of writing the world itself. Every app, every API, every ontology, just another translation of the same ideas, written differently and drifting apart. What if there were no translations? What if meaning itself could be versioned and branched like code? One truth, every language. Not documentation, not an interface. The actual semantics, structured once, captured once, expressed everywhere. This is what version control looks like when the thing you're versioning is meaning. Like Git, but for business rules. Like this to that, but for ontology. Like Zapier, but for the rules themselves. Git revolutionized how we version code. Pandoc lets us convert between document formats. Zapier connects applications together. But what versions the business rules themselves? What converts between semantic representations? What connects Excel to documentation, to user stories and code, or even OWL ontologies? The problem is a business rule like this. Our dance competitions are actually longer than the active competition days to allow for setup and teardown. By the time it's designed, implemented, tested, it usually lives in 2 or 3 different places, in multiple languages, often maintained by multiple people or even teams. When the rule changes to 3 days instead of 2, we don't have a git commit making that updated rule available everywhere. There are just so many separate updates, multiple possible interpretations, so many opportunities for drift. The business team's Excel spreadsheet still says 2 days because nobody told them. There's a different paradigm, though. One truth, every language. This is Effortless API. Watch what happens when we version the rule itself, not the code that implements it. We describe the domain in plain English. We run dance competitions. Each competition has a start date and total number of competition days where teams compete. However, we also need an extra day for setup and teardown. So the actual completion date of the conference is calculated as the total number of days plus 2. Teams register for a specific competition that they're in, and we should know how many teams have registered for any competition at any given time. Each team member should be able to see both their team name and which competition they're in. The Effortless Guide, trained on the CMCC conjecture, converts that conversation into executable semantics. Not just documentation, not just a spec, executable calculations that travel with the data. So here's the schema. 3 tables, competitions, teams, and team members. But the end date competition isn't stored data. It's a calculation. The rule lives here in the schema itself as executable logic. The team count also calculated. It counts how many teams are associated with each competition. In the teams table, the competition name looks up the name of the competition that they're registered for. And in the team members, both the team name and competition name flow through automatically. Change a competition date and watch the end date recalculate. Change a team's competition and watch the team member's competition name update automatically. This isn't just a UI trick. These formulas are the source of truth for every downstream system. Here's the JSON representation, same semantics, different syntax. We edit a competition name from National Dance Championship to International Dance Championship, and watch that cascade. The teams table now shows the new competition name. The team members table shows it too. The relationships are semantic. When the competition name changes, everything that depends on it follows. This is what Zapier does for apps, automatic propagation, but we're doing it for the rules themselves. Now the Git moment, we can download Excel where business teams actually work, change the formula to be 3 days instead of 2, save, and upload. That's our commit, not to code, to the rule itself. And just like Git merging a branch, the change propagates everywhere. The spreadsheet view, the JSON, the OWL ontology, the semantic graph, the README documentation. One change, every language. Like Pandoc converting formats, but instead of converting once, every view stays synchronized, live, because they're all reading from the same executable schema. For the ontology purists, here's a formal representation. Same rule, same 3-day buffer, expressed in RDF. See the competition class with its end date property, the aggregation counting teams, the lookup connecting team members to their competition names. No translation errors, no semantic drift. This isn't a separate systems, it's a view of the same truth. And here's the visual. Nodes, edges, relationships, the same model we built in Excel, the same schema we edited in JSON, now rendered as a knowledge graph. Competitions connect to teams, which connect to team members. The end date rule is visible as a calculated property. The team count shows as an aggregation. The competition name lookup paths trace through the graph. Every representation, business users, developers, ontology engineers, data scientists, they all read from the same source. The effortless guide also knows the current rule, not because we updated documentation somewhere, but because it reads the same schema. When we ask how competition end, it tells us 3 days after the start date plus competition days. We ask a team member which competition they're in, and it follows the lookups to answer. We ask which team members are in the national championships. It queries the relationships and returns the results. This is the Zapier moment, but instead of connecting app to app, we're connecting every representation to the ground truth. The documentation, it regenerates automatically. 2 days becomes 3 days. The relationship descriptions update to reflect the current schema. Living docs that can never go stale. And here's what Git actually tracked. Just one line. The semantic change. Not 5 separate implementations. Not thousands of lines of generated boilerplate. Just the rule itself. This is Git for business rules. Version control for semantics. The commit history isn't code archaeology. It's the evolution of meaning. The schema is the ontology. The schema is the API. The schema is the documentation. The schema is what the effortless guide reads. Or, I guess more precisely, they're all views of the same schema. Different languages, one truth. This is the CMCC conjecture. 5 declarative primitives, schema, data, parent lookups, child aggregations, and formulas, calculated fields. From these 5, we generate every representation. Excel understands them, JSON expresses them, OWL formalizes them, the graph visualizes them, the guide queries them. Not because we taught each system separately, but because the primitives are universal, semantic building blocks beneath every data model. Business teams work in Excel. Developers work in JSON. Ontologists work in OWL, and data scientists work in graphs. Everyone asks the effortless guide questions. And they're not translating between worlds anymore. They're working from the same truth, rendered in their preferred language. Like Git lets teams collaborate on code. Like Zapier lets apps talk to each other. This isn't another integration layer. It's a universal escape hatch. It's the layer beneath integrations, where the rules themselves live, versioned and provable. The commit history isn't code archaeology. It's the evolution of thought. Every change to the rule is a change to the truth itself, witnessed instantly across every language, tool, every team. One truth, every language. Effortless API. Version control for meaning.